Hey everyone, welcome out to episode 104 of a Nerd Named Mark podcast. It's me, it's Mark. Um, lot going on. Got a lot of merch and comics to actually talk about for once because while I was boarding, I went to get my new comics and then I had to get some more boards and bags because I haven't been able to board and bag any of my comics for a couple weeks now and I haven't had time to go over to the comic shop. And while I was boarding bagging, I was like, oh, I basically have all my recent comic books that I've purchased, so I can actually show off my comics finally, which I haven't done in a couple episodes. I don't think I've done it at all like this year, actually. So a lot of comics. I got some more merch to talk about, nano blocks, some Gundam kits, and some other display cases I've gotten. Which I, oddly enough, Amazon just delivered one right before I hit record, so that's why I was like, oh, let me record. Wait, it's out for delivery. Let me just wait 10-15 minutes because it told me it was 2 more stops. Yeah, a lot going on with work. The apartment hunting has been null. Basically, we're gonna renew the lease here at the apartment for another year, which I'm okay with. I did want a bigger place, but a lot of the apartments didn't have availability in the time frame we were looking for. And honestly, going month to month in California is expensive because the price drastically increases. So we were just like, let's just extend it a year. Why not save some more money, get the bigger place next year, and time it out a little bit better. So, and with everything going on, it's been really tough. Like, not a lot of places are renting in this time frame, as well as a lot of places are trying to offset money lost from, people not paying rent and this and that. So they're doing it, on the one hand, a lot of places have high rent. On the other hand, a lot are doing move-in deals. It's just the time frame of when the lease was ending and moving into a new place didn't line up. So yeah, you're gonna see this background a little bit longer, although I am going to be upgrading and changing some things around to better suit how I want the layout. Because if anyone has followed from a video standpoint, a lot of the content I made, there's been a lot of drastic upgrades I've done with my video quality, not just like camera wise, but finally getting a better desk, getting my display shelves up. And now I'm at the point where it's like, okay, if I'm gonna be saving money and this and that, I can finally get better displays for stuff and how I can have things. So a lot of stuff's gonna be moving around the next couple months for a layout standpoint of my actual workstation. So I'm excited for that. Yes, for those of you watching on YouTube, the video version, I know I need a haircut. Like it's bad. Like I'm long overdue for a haircut. I gotta get one soon when I have time. I'm actually recording this before I have to go to work, so it's fairly early right now in the morning. It's close to like 6 a.m. and I'm like, oof, I don't have the energy. But so I'm gonna jump right into comic books because that's gonna be easier. Plus, they're right here. Outside of the boards and bags. So that was a loud motorcycle. Usually for a while there, I was getting current size boards and bags, but I felt like they were just too snug, and I didn't really like how they I don't know, there's something about them. They just seem too snug, and I was like, I don't like this. So like when I was getting like larger size issues, I couldn't put them in there, and or it was less like too tight a fit. Didn't want to ruin the binding on a lot of my comics, so I switched back over to regular boards and bags. A lot easier. Yeah, there's more space in the board and this and that, but it's like it just seems like it's not as such a tight fit, honestly. So I'm switched over to regular board and bags. Obviously I waited until I was out of my current ones because I didn't want to like waste them and throw them out. So yeah, I'm gonna jump right into comics. Got a nice stack here to go over. Not too many because, like I said, I've talked about it. I've cut back on a lot of like my comic pulling. I'm doing a lot of trade waiting, which I've explained to death about what that is. So I'm not really gonna go over it. I actually have them organized by the actual comic, so it'll be pretty easy. So I got issue 1 of 6 for Power Rangers Universe. I like this all red cover for those of you watching on YouTube. For those of you listening, it's basically Red Rangers. And then going right into Power Rangers and Mighty Morphin, I got Power Rangers 15 connecting cover with Mighty Morphin, so those go together. The Alterian War is ending with issue 16 of Power Rangers. Here's actual episode issue 14 of Power Rangers, and then we got Issue 16 of Mighty Morphin. Issue 16 of Power Rangers drops this Wednesday, and that's the end of the Alterian War, and actually Ryan Parrott's last issue writing for Power Rangers from Boom Studios. When Kyle Higgins was writing, I wasn't loving it, and we had Go-Go and Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. And then post Shattered Grid, Ryan took over. I was like wary at first, but he was writing good, so I was like, oh yeah, no. And I'm gonna feign ignorance here. Like, I didn't know who Ryan Parrott was. And then he started writing it, and it was so good. We drove up to the Temecula area to SoCal Comics and Games, or Games and Comics, and we got to meet him. He signed a couple issues, got to talk with him. Really nice guy, great writer. And I know he is going over to Radiant Black now or Radiant Red. Like, he's going over to the new Kyle Higgins comic that he's been doing. So I'm really excited for that. Such a great guy, great writer, and yeah. Also, I must recant a previous statement. I thought Donny Cates was done with Thor. He is not done with Thor yet. So I have Thor issue number 20, Gotta Hammer part 2. And then we also have issue 21. I like this cover. This is a good cover. And then, oddly enough, it's been a while since I've had any like one shots for Archie. So I got the Love and Heartbreak, which is the Valentine's Day special. I still love Archie comics. I know a lot of people are like, really? Like, a lot of people actually are shocked that I collect Archie comics. They say that I don't seem like I have the personality type to enjoy them, and I'm like, wow, that's weird. But yeah, I do enjoy Archie comics. I've been collecting Archie comics for quite some time now. I've gone over, if you go back in older episodes, I have some issues from the early 60s from my mom that she gave me, and I have some most of the modern ones. I get most of the trades and this and that as well. And speaking of Kyle Higgins and Ryan Parrott from before, Radiant Black, this is issue number 12. This is a part of the Image 30th anniversary. Like, they're doing the little seal on it. Such a good Radiant Black is so good. And then we got crossover number 11, another Donny Cates, because, you know, I really enjoy that. And House of Slaughter number 4. The comic book is still really holding my interest. I love Something Is Killing the Children, and House of Slaughter is set in the same world as that. Really good. Miles Morales Spider-Man number 34. Like I said, Miles Morales is still holding my interest. It's still good. I don't hate it. My opinion, I know Miles Morales still gets a lot of polarizing opinions. I've explained it before in one of my other videos that wasn't a part of the podcast, my opinion on that. And then for Donny Cates, we got the Hulk number 3. I got the little black and white sketch variant style. I love this new Hulk run. It's really good, especially after, was it Immortal Hulk and Weapon H. It's nice to have just a normal, well, not normal, but like a Hulk storyline where it's just none of this weird like other stuff going on. It's the Hulk. I like it. I like it a lot. And I've never been a big Hulk fan. I never pulled a lot of Hulk. I did read a lot of Weapon H and Immortal Hulk, and it did hold my interest for a while there. And then also from Titan Comics, I got Life is Strange, Settling Dust number 3. I do collect a lot of video game tie-in comics. I do enjoy the Life is Strange run. I'm a big fan of the video game Life is Strange. I don't know why I say of. I am a big fan of the video game franchise, except for 2. 2 was hit or miss, but the comic book series has been really good, especially because it revolves more around Life is Strange, the first game, and those characters, and Before the Storm and stuff like that. So that's it for comics. A good amount. Not too bad for everything considered. I'm still reading a lot of manga. I did get another Five Nights at Freddy graphic novel, and then I picked up the last 2 volumes of Ultraman that I needed, which was 15 and 16. So I'm now current with that run, and I read those. They're already on the shelf where I'd bring them over. I don't know if I talked about it in the last video. I just finished Kaiju number 8, volume 1. I like kaijus a lot, so this is a really good manga. If you haven't already, go check it out. I found it at Barnes and Noble, but you can find it basically wherever, any bookstore, honestly. So let's see, what are we gonna go over next? Oh, new merch stuff. So I mentioned displays. I got another new display for my nanoblock sets. My chair is kind of in the way, but you can kind of see it if you're watching on video. I have the set display case right here with my Dragon Ball Z and Pokemon nanoblocks, and it's basically full once I finish building the Charizard that I just got and Venusaur. I got Chimchar, already built that. He's in the case. And then I found, and I finally got delivered. Now I checked because the boxes got kind of damaged in shipping, so I had to check to make sure everything was okay. I got all four, like the complete Commander Gaim nanoblock set. Yeah. And yeah, the tape is off because I had to open it to make sure because some of the boxes were damaged and I had to make sure everything was okay. So yeah, all four of the Gaim ones, which is nice. I'm going to be hunting down the Forze ones and the Commander one with the Cyclone motorcycle and V3, and then the Shocker minions probably the end of the month or next month, with Valentine's Day coming up and then my lady's birthday and my birthday this month. You know, I'm trying to cut back on spending. I really have drastically when you think about it though, because I have, between cutting back on my comics, January I barely built, like, well, I built a lot of stuff, but I barely bought any merch for Gundams and this and that. And I did find this SD Gundam X Standard Wing Gundam Zero, which I cannot wait to make. Obviously, from an SD Gundam standpoint, for the SDW Heroes, I'm not panel lining them or anything like that. Same with the G frames. Like the G frames, I might do some light panel lining, but not really. I usually just do a lot of panel lining and shading and stuff like that on the 1/100 scales and the 1/144ths. But this one, how it looks, this one I'm definitely going to be panel lining a lot of it because it is, yeah, it's going to look really good. Because like looking at the photos on it when I was looking, I was like, okay, none of that's panel lined, but I need to because it looks so much better with those detail lines on it. I've been, you know, in my ignorance of Gundam and Gunpla in general, I never really ever panel lined anything. I used to just make them and put them on display. And after I got into panel lining a few months ago, I was like, you know what? I can't believe I went this long without doing it. It was something really intimidating because I didn't want to ruin them. But then seeing like my other Wing Gundam Zero and a few other ones I panel lined after they were done, I was like, and even one of the SD Gundams, I did panel lining on the B2 Benjamin SDW Heroes, and I was like, okay, panel lining is essential. I can't neglect that anymore. I have to do that with any kit I can now going forward, other than my clear color kits that I have, which I still have to build a lot of. I injured my thumb. I'm not going to show it fully on the YouTube video, but it's pretty bad. It's healing. It's still a lot of pain, so I haven't been able to play a lot of games or build any stuff. Like I have been able to, but I haven't been doing video because it looks gross. And yeah, that'll lead right into video games. So a lot of video games. Pokemon Legends Arceus, I have beaten the main story and I started doing a lot of the post game stuff. Really good game. I loved it. I still love it, obviously. I don't know why I'm saying past tense. It's definitely a game that I'm gonna keep playing and finish. It's, from a gameplay standpoint, it was a breath of fresh air to be able to, you know, crouch down and in the wild, be hidden, just throw Pokeballs and catch Pokemon. It seemed more realistic in the sense of this is how a Pokemon world would work compared to all the other previous generations and games. So I was happily surprised with how much, like I've put like 60 hours into the game, and it's been out for not even a week and a half at the time of recording this. So yeah, put some time into it. Other games I have not played yet that I need to get into is Sifu. I finally got that on PC. That game really intrigued me, and I saw some streams of it, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna have to pick this up. And then Dying Light 2 is out. Anyone who knows me knows I love Dying Light. I wish I have been putting some time into Dying Light 2, but honestly, I've been playing more chill games that don't require too much use of my left hand because of my thumb. Anytime I was putting like a lot of pressure and on like the controller or even keyboard and mouse, it would start bleeding. So I was like, crap, I gotta wait till this heals up. I have been playing a lot of Lost Ark. This is a game that has been out for 2 years in like Korea and this and that. Amazon Game Studios picked it up. Then when they announced it, I lost my shit because it looked so good. It's basically an MMO action RPG. So think of Diablo, but an MMO. And I was like, I was waiting and waiting, and then for some odd reason, I forgot to like. This is my issue with E3 and all these other conventions. When I see a game I like, unless it's like a main IP, like a sequel or something, I forget about it. And so I forgot about the game. And then recently I saw some streams of it and some tweets, and I was like, oh, this game's, and I forgot the name too. And I was like, why does this look familiar? This game looks like, what is this? And then I was like, oh, that's the game that I saw from Amazon Game Studios that they're bringing to the US. I need to play this. So I saw they were doing founders packs to get 3 days early access. I picked up the bronze founders pack, and I was like, yeah, $14.99. I want to play this game. I don't care about the XP boost and the pets. Like, I just want to start playing it now. And because when it was coming out, I had a lot of work that I had to do, and the early access started on my day off. So I was like, well, I'm gonna play this. So I have been playing a lot of Lost Ark. I think I've just been clamoring for a Diablo game because Diablo 3 was really good. I didn't pick up the remastered or whatever of Diablo. Um, I plan on it at some point, but I was really waiting for this type of game. I love action RPGs, and I was just like, yeah, I'm gonna get this game. So that's probably the game I'm gonna be playing the most over the next couple weeks. I'm still gonna chip away at Pokemon when I'm like chilling on the couch and this and that, and I will start Dying Light 2 the second I can play for long periods of time and not have any pain in my hand. So Dying Light 2 will definitely, and Sifu also. It's like Sifu, I bought it because I really wanted it, obviously, but also Epic Game Stores do this thing where you sign up for the newsletter and you get a $10 like coupon. So I was like, oh, I'll get $10 off on the game. I was like, that's not bad. I'll pay 29 instead of 39. I mean, I would have paid full price anyways. But at the same time, Sifu, I didn't really want to buy it on the PS4 or PS5. I was like, I want to play it on PC. I'm always at my computer most of the time when I am off or that's not working on stuff. So I can have, videos rendering on one screen, have Sifu up on the other, play some Sifu, or I can even hook it up to the TV. For those of you watching YouTube, I have a TV on my desk as well. I can hook it up to the TV and play it there too. Because, HDMI, I can, or even like with the Switch, when I was recording stuff and rendering stuff, I have the Switch hooked up to the TV right now, actually. And I was like, all right, let me play some Pokemon while these are rendering. My computer gaming chair is actually more comfortable to sit in than sitting on the couch all day. So, and sitting upright for my back. So I was like, yeah, I enjoy this a lot more, just sitting right here and playing. But yeah, other than that, for games, I'm still playing W Supercard on my phone. I know a lot of people are like, when you talk about games, why do you mention mobile games? And I'm like, dude, they're fun. Like, I even just started, I downloaded and started playing the My Hero Academia, like, Ultra Impact or whatever it's called. It's a turn-based fight, like, game, like a normal standard everything else, like Marvel Future Fight, stuff like that. So I was like, yeah, I'll download that. I'll give it a try. But that's really it for games and comics. For movies and TV shows, I'm finally caught up on Peacemaker. The finale's this week. I'm really excited. It's a really good show. And I'm not even gonna pretend as a comic book fan that I know anything about Peacemaker, because I don't. So anything I know about Peacemaker was from James Gunn's Suicide Squad and the show. So I have no pre-existing knowledge or this and that or any of the references to compare it to. So I just get to go in blind and just enjoy it. And that's what I've been doing. I've been really enjoying it. Antlers was also added on HBO Max this weekend, and we checked that out. I was really intrigued by it because I'm a huge fan of Wendigos and a lot of Native American indigenous peoples lore, being I'm not even going to get into the semantics of it, but as someone who is also Native American, this is something that's always been intrigued by me, which is why like things like Until Dawn is one of my favorite video games. I think a lot of Native American and indigenous lore is not really showcased in movies, comics, and video games. It is in a lot of books, but it's not in every form of media. So I was really intrigued by Antlers. I did not hate it. It was actually pretty good. And on that, a lot of anime. I know. My friends have been, I have some other video series I'm going to work on because for years I have ignored certain animes that I have refused to watch. Things like One Piece and Naruto. And my friends were like, watch Naruto, watch X amount of episodes. And I was like, you know what? As someone who's an anime fan, I'm going to do a video series where I actually finally sit down and watch Naruto. I'll give it a chance. But as of right now, I've really been watching a lot of Demon Slayer, finally catching up on My Hero. And but the downside is I got caught up in some of my favorites that I've been over, like Ghost Hunt, which is on Funimation now, is one of my favorite animes. For the longest time, I couldn't find it on DVD, Blu-ray, nothing. And then when I realized it was streaming on Funimation, I was like, well, I gotta watch this again. This was actually really good. Same with things like Get Backers. And then I started going back through because I've been on a Gundam kick. Not even Gundam kick, I feel like that makes it seem like it's a phase. I've always been a fan of Gundam. I've seen most of the seasons already anyways, but I'm rewatching a lot of them just because I really enjoy giant robots and mechas fighting, like, and lasers, swords, and beam rifles. Like, so I've been watching a lot more anime than usual, which is, not really outside the norm. I go through anime phases where I'll just like, for 2 or 3 months, I'm just like, I'm gonna watch a lot of anime. Then I'll go 5 or 6 months and not watch any anime or anything like that. It's just how I am. Like, I'm not the type who really likes waiting week to week to watch shows. So I usually wait till seasons are over and then I binge watch them, which is why I kind of like Netflix from the standpoint of they'll just dump a whole entire show on there. Whereas like HBO and Amazon and everyone else, like, you got to wait every week for a new episode. And I'm impatient, which is why, like, even with my Toku stuff that I do on the YouTube channel and this and that, like, waiting weekly for episodes and covering them and making reaction and review videos is tough for me because I want to just binge watch. I I've been spoiled with streaming services, and that's kind of how it's been for a couple years now. A few other things like coming up from movies. So we rented Ghostbusters Afterlife. I'm going to be doing a review of that as well on the Nerd Marks Reviews RSS feed. Such a good game. Or good game, wow. Good movie. I really enjoyed it. The nostalgia was great. I think it's setting up something good for the future. I'm really hoping Dan Aykroyd's statement about like doing a Ghostbusters 4 and 5 are true, because I would love to see more of what's going on in that world with the other previous characters and the new characters that were introduced as well. Scream, really good, loved it. And then we have Uncharted coming out soon, and I don't really have a big topic for this week's episode, so this is actually going to be a really quick episode. One, time constraints, and this is actually going to be one of my busiest weeks with work, and it's also, I got to do my taxes too, so I'm trying to balance a lot of stuff. So this isn't going to be a really long episode. For those of you who are used to how my episode structure used to be, this is, kind of the norm, doing a quick episode like this. And not doing any filler and just, everything else. Whereas sometimes I will have very long episodes. This is not one of those long episode situations. So that other movies, like, I'm really excited to see Uncharted. I saw some of the Metacritic scores. People were complaining about mundane things like too much action and the pacing. And I'm like, you're going to complain about the action? What? I'm going to leave my opinion on it as nothing until I actually see it, because I think it's going to be good. I'm a huge fan of Uncharted, and I'm actually genuinely really excited to see it. This has actually been this is gonna be a really good year for movies. At the time of recording this, I just, the Super Bowl happened. I saw the movie trailers that were announced, this, that, like Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness and everything else, and I was like, okay, I'm sold on that as well. Like, my comic book movie burnout is kind of over, but I'm just being more selective on what I go see, because I don't know. Just, I think the last year or so of, movies going on streaming services and in theaters at the same time has kind of spoiled us, me specifically, with not having to go to the movie theaters. Outside of Spider-Man, which was amazing, no pun intended, and should be seen by everybody. But yeah, now this year with HBO purposely showing all the stuff saying only in theaters, so the whole trend of things going in theaters and streaming services is over, and I'm like, well, it's a lot easier for me to spend $10 a month and getting multiple movies that are going to be in theaters than it is to go to the theater and drop $15-16 per ticket plus popcorn and drinks. So it's like, it's going to be an adjustment. I think got spoiled for the last year or so, but I'm like the main thing I'm going to see right now is Uncharted. That's on my top of my list. But yeah, short episode. Not like I said, pretty busy. A lot of stuff going on. I still want to put out podcast episodes. I'm not gonna miss a week and stuff like that. I told myself, hey, we're gonna be focused. I think other than one delay, I haven't been missing any episodes. I'm trying to be more consistent this year, like I said, and a lot of other content going on with the YouTube. I haven't streamed in like 2 or 3 weeks just because everything going on and not having time. And it's like, well, podcast number one, obviously. So I am going to be jumping back into streaming probably in the beginning of March, end of February, once, birthday and everything else. And now that we're not apartment hunting, because that took a lot of free time, like looking at the apartments in person, seeing the area, thinking about commute to work, everything else we had to factor in. That kind of took a lot of time. But I just wanted to, talk about my comics, talk about my new stuff. No topic of the week this week. I am going to be having another guest soon, so that's going to be fun. And if you haven't already, I was a guest on the Tokudan podcast, so go check that out. We talked, indie toku stuff, Kamen Rider, all that nerdy, good tokusatsu deliciousness. So go check them out. Just type in Tokudan wherever you listen to podcasts. It was a lot of fun being on the show, and Rob and Carl were great, good friends, and just it was so much fun. But with that being said, this has been episode 104. Is it 104? Yeah, 104. Maybe. I don't know. I should probably double check because, I think it's 104. I'm 99% sure. Like I said, I'm all over the place. I'm like even right now, as I'm recording this, I'm already looking at other things I got to get done right when I actually stop recording and then edit. Yeah, it's 104. Episode 104. Wow. I am bad at this. So thank you for checking out episode 104 of a Nerd Named Mark podcast. A Nerd Named Mark podcast is available wherever you listen to podcasts. Just go to anchor.fm/ANNM podcast. It is available on Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Play, Apple Podcasts, Podbean, Podcast Republic, basically wherever you can find a podcast. You type in a Nerd Named Mark podcast, boom, it pops up. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, hit the red little button down below, like the video, comment whatever new comics, merch, movies you've seen, and any recommendations for comics. I still have people tweeting me and DMing me comic book recommendations from indie publishers and Kickstarters that are happening, and I'm happy that I'll be able to start featuring some of those once they get shipped out, so I can start talking about all these indie comics and kickstarted and crowdfunded comics that just look so good that I'm excited that they're being made, and just the stories and artwork being shown. So yeah, if you have any of those suggestions, let me know in the comments below. Like I said, thank you for listening or watching episode 104 of a Nerd Named Mark podcast. My name is Mark, and I'm a nerd.